So maybe you quit your job, maybe you want to quit your job, maybe you've moved abroad, you want to move abroad, you want to be your own boss, you want to start an online career, and you've told people what you want to do, and you just get hit in the face with a lot of fears, opinion, judgments, or concerns, and you feel like no one understands you. No one understands your life goals, your dreams, and you just feel completely misunderstood. So if this is you, then I think this video is going to definitely hit the spot. Because it's something I want to talk about, because I am a digital nomad. I've lived abroad for 5 years. If you're new to this channel, I quit my job back in 2019. I was doing medical device sales. I literally had zero plan, but I knew that I had to do something different. I knew I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to live abroad. I wanted a completely different life than what I was setting myself up for. And a lot of people were like, what are you doing? Why are you leaving a stable career? You don't have any plan. What if you fail? What if you can't get another job? What if this isn't going to work out? What are you thinking? Pretty much is what they were saying. And I, was so bombarded with all of the fears and opinions and whether I was doing something right or wrong. And I honestly just wish that somebody was like, that's really cool. And yeah, of course, there were some people who were like, that's awesome, good for you. But my family and friends were probably most concerned and probably had the most judgments. And I get it's out of their own fear for you, but the reality is it's out of their own fear. So in today's video, I really want to talk about that feeling of being misunderstood, because even 5.5 years now of living this lifestyle, I still feel so misunderstood by my family and my friends. And I think that a lot of times they try and get it when they're back at home, whenever I'm there and I'm visiting and they're asking about my life or my dreams or business or what's going on, but they can't fathom it. And I don't blame them, because they have no relatability to it. They've never left the country and moved abroad. They've never started their own business. They've never kind of broken out of the 9 to 5. And there's nothing wrong with the fact they're still in that world, but they have nothing to relate to. They have nothing to try and grasp how you're living. So 5.5 years in, we still feel very misunderstood by people. And sometimes that misunderstanding can weigh really heavily. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. Because one of the hardest parts about living abroad or leaving the normal path of life is the guilt and pressure that you feel from your family and some of your friends probably. But that fact that you're no longer, maybe less so in the career sense and maybe more so in the not being around physically sense, when you move abroad and you are no longer available for all the birthdays, all the holidays, the events that happen in life, you now receive the bad news from family members over the phone of someone passing away. And these are the things that you have to kind of come to terms and grip with. And they will break your heart most of the time. Like, there are way too many funerals and people passing away that I have missed. There have been babies' births, weddings, big moments, things that I really wish I could have been there that have weighed on me so heavily. And it doesn't help when your family and your friends weigh on you more. And they're coming from a place of love and that they just want you to be there. But when they're constantly reminding you that you're not there, or that you're so far away, or when are you going to come back? And all they can ask you is, why won't you just move home? Why won't you just live closer? Family is all you need. If you're by your people, you can be happy. And there's a complete lack of understanding for how we want to live life. For me, I adore my family, which I'm sure some of my family's probably watching this right now. I love you guys. I love being with you, around you, hanging out with you. But where you live, no. I feel like a piece of the puzzle that literally does not fit. No matter how hard you jam it in, it might look like the last piece of the puzzle is going to fit in, but it's just not fitting. That is me. I do not fit into the puzzle of life in New Jersey. I do not fit into the puzzle of life in the US, how I feel right now. And no matter how many times, and I tried for years before I got my job, to fit into that life, I always felt like I was different. And when I moved abroad and I got to live the life I always wanted to live, and I got to experience new cultures and kind of just be free of the rat race mentality that we all have, I felt lighter. I felt like I could actually really be myself. And even now to this day, I'll go back home and I'll visit, and I feel like I'm taking myself and just shrinking myself. because no one gets me. No one gets what I'm doing. They support it and they'll ask some questions, but they don't get it. So a lot of times the questions come with a little bit of concerns or judgment. And I always feel like I can't be myself. And not even personality wise, but just like as a whole being, I feel like I just can't fully be me when I'm there. And as soon as I get off the plane and I get on the bus to Barcelona City and I get off in the city center and I'm walking to my apartment, as soon as I step off that bus and I'm like in Barcelona again, I go, it just I feel lighter. Like I don't know how else to explain it. I just feel like I'm me again. It's a version of me that I actually want to be and that I can be and fully embrace. And so there's so much of that pressure of like, why aren't you home? Why are you missing things? Why can't you live closer? And that disappointment and that like grief that they have and the sadness and the anger sometimes weighs on you tenfold. Because there's nothing that you can explain to somebody like having your heart in two places. Your heart being in your hometown with your family and friends, and that being like the people who know you best sometimes, or the people who have been around the longest for your life and will always remain around. And then you have the place where you live, where your heart is so happy and where you feel the best version of yourself. And so your heart is always pulled in two directions. And that pull sometimes can be a lot. Like it can be strenuous. There's moments and days and even weeks when I've just cried and been like, I'm homesick. But then as soon as I go home, I'm like, nope, I'm not. I just miss my people. And I wish I could bring my people and just put them in Barcelona, but obviously that's not realistic. So you learn to live with your heart in two places. But then obviously when you have the pressure of everyone kind of leaning on you, being like, we miss you, and their feelings and their emotions of everything, it can weigh on you a lot. But recently I listened to a podcast, and Mel Robbins is one of my absolute favorites. I think she is just like aggressive in her personal development stuff that she shares with you, but in the best way possible. Not in like a mean way, but like a come on, you can do this, like let's be real kind of way. And she has a new book that she wrote called The Let Them Theory. And so a big part of this book is about just like let them be sad. Let them have their emotions, because we are not responsible for another adult's emotions. If you're not hurting them physically, you're not doing them harm, you're really not responsible. Your life decisions aren't responsible for their emotions. You can't control how they're going to feel. So let them be disappointed. Let them be angry. Let them be sad. Because the reality is, it doesn't mean they love you any less. That's their emotion that they feel. And on the back end of that let them theory, she talks about the let me. It's like, let me do the things that make me happy. And you say to yourself, like, let me be happy. Let me live in a place where I feel most aligned. And it's so important to know that you aren't responsible for other people's emotions and that you are the only one who's going to be by your side for the rest of your life. Sadly, your family's not. Like, not everyone's going to live the same amount of time you're going to. And you need to make sure you're doing the things that you can to make you happy and make your dreams fulfilled, because you can show up so much better, even if it's over just a FaceTime or a couple times a year when you go back home. You can show up so much better as a daughter, as a friend, as a sister, as whoever, when you are the best and happiest version of yourself. So you don't want to be miserable and terrible to be around because you're unhappy where you are. You want to be able to be the best version of you. And so Mel Robbins had a recent podcast episode where she went on Chrissy Teigen's podcast, but on her podcast, she has an episode where she pulls out clips from the podcast, and she talks about this topic so much, about the whole being misunderstood, and how even if you're doing the things that are best for you, sometimes other people might not understand it and they might not fully support it. It doesn't mean that they love you any less. It just means that they see happiness different than you do, which is fine. It's okay. It's okay to be different. Like I always tell people, it's okay for that I like something different than you, right? Well, yeah, of course it is. Like, we're all different human beings. We're all in this world living completely different lives. And it's okay. It's okay not to follow the normal path. And while you might always wish that they understood you or that they got your dreams and goals and that they didn't question them. The reality is that you have to accept that there is a gap in understanding that just isn't going to close because they don't have the ability to close it. They don't have the ability to see your life, to be in your life, to be in your head, to imagine the things that you want to do. So that gap is always going to be there, and you just have to understand and accept that it's okay, that you might not fully be understood. But when people start to see you be so much happier and so much better as a person for yourself, they're going to support you. And if you feel like you really aren't getting that support, know that you aren't in this journey alone. There are so many of us who live this world, me included, who know these feelings. And I talk to my friends about it all the time. I've even messaged some of you guys about it who DM me on Instagram or leave comments and stuff. It's a hard topic, and I don't know if there's ever really the best answer for it. But I truly believe like this is your passion, if this is your dream, if this is your goal, no one has to understand it because it's yours. Like it's your dream for a reason. It's not their dream. And so when you start to make this dream happen, yes, people might come around more and more. And if they don't, then just build a community of people around you who get it. I think one of the best things about quitting my job and moving abroad and living a completely different life is the fact that I met people who understood it. Whether they lived abroad or whether they just started their own business or whether we just wanted to live an unconventional life and we both understood the paths that we wanted to do, having people to lean on who understood that was the most amazing thing in the world. And when you meet those people, then you really do feel understood. So it might not be your family who understands you or your friends from home that understand you or your old colleagues or whatever it might be. But the people in your life who are doing the same thing will understand you and they will support you. And that support is definitely what's going to help push you forward and to keep going. And if you're looking for that support and you still haven't found it, please always feel free to message me. Like, I'm always open to have these conversations with you guys. I think it's so important to go after your dream. Whether anyone believes it, understands it, thinks you'll do it, who cares? It's yours. Go and do it. Fulfill your dreams. Let them think the way they want. Let them have the emotions they do, and let yourself go do it. So I hope that this video has brought you some clarity, some relatability. Maybe you feel seen or heard and you know what I'm talking about and you have those feelings. And maybe you come out with a thought of, you know what, let them do it and let me do this. Because you deserve to live the best and most beautiful life, however that looks to you. So go after it. And I want to thank you guys for watching this video, for being here. And I want to have some more open, honest, short-term little chats with you guys like this. And just kind of push ourselves to be the best version of ourselves that we absolutely can be. So if you like this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. There will definitely be more of these videos coming. There is so much for this channel coming up. I'm so excited. And comment below your thoughts if you feel like you relate to this, if you've been through it, anything that's helped you, or just say hello, whatever it might be. Send me a DM on Instagram if you have any questions, and I will catch you guys next video. See ya.